In this tutorial, we're going to break off a piece of the candy bar. For clarity, I've hidden the rest of my content so I can use my viewport to manipulate this. I'm going to select one section of the candy bar. To do so, I'm going to go to the top view. And in the top view, I'm going to select it. And I'm just going to straighten this out a bit so it's easier to edit. And I'll right-click and choose Face. And I'll marquee the faces I need to break off one section. I'm going to go to my perspective view to make sure I've got just what I need. If you're in doubt about whether you've selected the right faces or not, you can always hit 4 on the keyboard and it appears a little bit clearer. So anything that's brown will be extracted. I'll hold down the space bar. I'm going to go to Edit Mesh and then I'm going to choose Extract. I'll deselect, select my geometry again, and then I'm going to right click and go to the object mode. You'll notice that when you extract, it leaves the newly extracted piece in the sub-edit mode. You'll see all the polygon faces were brown. I'm going to center the pivot. I'll hit W, and I'm going to move this out because we have a couple of things to deal with here. If we look closely at the edges, you'll see that the candy bar is open here and over here where it was extracted from. So we're going to look at two workflows in order to fill those in. If everything has gone fine with my editing and I've got all my clean polygon faces here, I can use the Append Polygon tool. I'm going to hold Command Shift, I'll go to Mesh Tools, and I'll click on Append Polygon. With the candy bar in its object mode, I'll click on the tool, and you'll notice that open edges have a heavier outline of green around them. I'm going to start by clicking on this top edge, and then I'm going to click on the one directly below it. And you'll get a pink face, which means it was successful in filling it in. I'll hit Return to set that. Now you'll notice that when you introduce the new polygon face after the fact that something's been texture mapped, it applies the entire texture to that one little section. That's something we'll deal with once we've fixed our geometry. I'll hit G on the keyboard, or I'll click on the Append tool once again, and I'll go from here to there, hit Return, Save, and now I'm going to go and I'm going to repair the piece that was broken off. I'll select it, I'll click on the Polygon Append tool, I'll click on this edge, the one across from it, hit Return, and I'm going to hit F on the keyboard so I can rotate this. You'll notice that when you have something selected and you hit F on the keyboard, it locks the camera view to that so that you can manipulate your viewport in the context of the selected piece. I'll get the Append Polygon tool once again. I'll click here, click there, hit Return, and Save. I've deleted the faces that I previously fixed with the Append tool to try the second technique. Very often Maya will not respond, and it could be for any number of reasons. The software changes every 6 to 8 months. So that said, I'm going to use an alternate workflow here. And to do so, I'm going to need my Extrude tool. Now, the Extrude tool is under the Edit Mesh, and it appears to be this little rectangle in orange on a white plane. I've already put it on my dock. I'm also going to be using the Merge to Center tool, and that is an orange circle that is cut up like a pizza. And that also would be under Edit Mesh and then Merge to Center. And they can both be added to the toolbar holding Command Shift and adding them from the menu at the top. If you have more than one icon of the same tool, you can simply right-click on it and choose Delete. I'm going to start with the candy piece that's been broken off, and I'm going to right-click and choose Edge. I'm going to select this top edge, and then I'm going to click on my Extrude Poly tool. I'll drag down on the x-axis right to the edge at the bottom. I'm now going to right-click and choose Vertex. I'm going to hit 4 on the keyboard to make sure I'm not selecting vertices that I don't want to merge. I'll marquee select those two vertices and I'll click on my Merge to Center. I'll select the ones on the other side and I'll hit G or click on Merge to Center again. Now we have this piece. I'll right click and choose Edge, select that edge, click on the Merge tool, pull the face down, and right click and choose Vertex. Select the vertices, hitting 4 to make sure that they are the ones I want. Merge to center, G, and now we'll go over and we'll seal out the candy bar itself using the same technique. I'll select the top edge, click on Merge, drag down, right click, Vertex, Merge to center, and I'll do the same for this one. Once you've done this one, come back, and then what we'll do is we'll fix our texture maps. Now we're ready to repair our texture maps. I'll select both pieces of geometry, and then I'm going to go to the UV editor. If you recall, the UV editor is a green box with a checkerboard in it. It can be reached through UV at the very top. It could be added to the toolbar again using Command and Shift. I'll click on it, and I'm seeing all the UV maps for the candy bar itself, but around the outside perimeter there are 2 large rectangles, or they're actually 4. They're on top of each other. These are shells that were applied to the newly made polygons. Whenever we add a new polygon to something that's already been UV mapped, it applies the whole texture on the whole quadrant of that UV map. So in order to fix that, it's simply a matter of right-clicking and choosing Shell. And I'm going to marquee select the corner, and then I'll hit the Scale tool and I'll scale them down. And I'm going to move them to where there would not be our bump map. Remember, our bump map is the word candy, and it falls on the surface of all these sections. That's what we're seeing here pushing through, that embossing. I'll come down to this large rectangle, I'll scale it, and then I'll move that over to the side where the bump map would not appear. And if I return to my model now, I can see that those faces that we added to seal our geometry are perfectly clear. And that's how we would break off a piece of candy bar and seal it and repair our UVs.